Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 105 of the Everything Moto Racing podcast. I hope you've had a good week. As always, we've had a pretty eventful MotoGP weekend this weekend. Hilarious, it's actually the first one all year that I've sat down and watched. And I'm kind of glad I did because it was pretty good.
You have
quite an admission, to be honest. The first one.
Yeah, I've not watched any of them really this year.
I mean, I get like missing the odd.
Like I've maybe
or
watched
maybe
the
like missing the
catch-up.
sprint on Saturday or something because you're busy, but you
Yeah.
haven't sat down to watch a GP yet.
No, like I've watched them a catch up, or I'll be like half watching on my phone whilst on a train somewhere, maybe. But like,
jet setter.
I've not actually like had like a session where I've like sat down and watched the races.
Are we
kind of thing.
keeping you here or something? Like,
No,
Feel
no.
free.
you don't
got
have to
other
be
stuff.
here.
Oh dear.
But yeah, I'm quite glad I did though because all three races were very good. We've had 3 brand new race winners this weekend. With David Alonso, what's his name, Fermin Aldeguer, both of them 17 or 18 years old, young'uns, and Aleix Marquez in the sprint race.
Yeah. Took me a
And Aleix
minute to work
Espargaro
that
picked up the
out.
second race. Yeah.
You were like, oh, 3 new winners. And I was like, who?
You're like,
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Oh, I've just had something appear on my phone actually from Steve Day. A
Right.
tweet from Steve Day. I thought it'd be controversial, but he's just saying, he was the ex-commentator saying that he doesn't have any current ties in MotoGP.
Yeah.
Can I just say that I very much dislike a Moto2 race being after MotoGP?
I was going to bring that up. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's I don't like it either. It's kind of... MotoGP is like the big one that you wait for, and when you watch a big on Moto2 is kind
Yeah.
of like having your dessert before the main course kind of thing.
Yeah, it's meant to be like the warm up for MotoGP, and I feel like Moto3 is
Yeah.
always such a good race, and then Moto2 like calms you down a little bit again, gets you ready for it, and then boom, MotoGP.
Yeah.
So I just find
Well,
it weird when they do
They're
it.
classed as like supporting classes, aren't they? In a way.
Yeah, they are.
So
Yeah.
you can't, it's like going to see a band and then the headliner is on second and then you've got one of the support acts last. Doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, it's probably better than a dessert after the main course thing.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's all the
Yeah.
same, really, isn't it?
yeah, it is. But the first thing I want to go into, which is some of the riders' comments this weekend, with the biggest and most controversial ones being Jake Dixon's comments regarding Darryn Binder in the GP. If you haven't seen it, I'll read out what he said about Darryn Binder, because in the first lap, Darryn Binder and Jake came together and Jake crashed out of the race. It was his home race. He crashed in qualifying, was trying to make up some places. He'd just won in Assen. He probably felt he could probably win the whole thing again this weekend. He gained a lot of places in the championships, currently sat in third, still is in third by about 4 or 5 points. But he was making good headway on Acosta and Arbolino. He crashed out of the race, and then within minutes of him crashing out, TNT Sport now, as they're now called, stuck a microphone under Jake Dixon's neck, and I don't know why I said under his neck. In front of his face is what I was trying to go with. There you go. Stuck a microphone in his face, and
He went
asked him about
off.
the event. And Jake Dixon said, right, I'm reading it word for word. He said, you can clearly see I'm faster than you, so use your brain. I'll pull us forwards. Don't just ram me because you just ruined my championship. You ruined everyone's championship. You're an absolute idiot. He's an absolute clown. I'm sick of it. Ban him. Ban him. It's stupid. How many times has he done it? He does it all the time. Moto3, Moto2. Stupid. Got nothing to lose now, so I'm going to go out and win as many GPs as I can. Firstly, why did they do that? Why didn't they have to TNT? Who in TNT made a decision to go, yeah, you know what, we're going to stick a microphone in Jake's face whilst he's so pent up?
Well,
did they not learn from Scott
wasn't
Ogden
really
last
fair.
year?
yeah, true. Look at all the hate Scott got last year for sort of
Yeah.
saying his opinion. But what I'm thinking is not only who let TNT, or who decided in TNT that it was a good idea. Where's Jake's PR officer? Where's the press officer for the team? Why were they not like, actually, give him, maybe until the race is actually over to gather his thoughts, maybe speak to his wife, calm down a bit, reassess the situation, speak to your mechanics, debrief basically with your team, and then go, okay, yeah, I'm going to speak to the media now once I've sort of got a cool head and I've gathered my thoughts. And I can still say, yeah, and be honest and say, okay, yep, if he still stands by everything he's just said, then 100%, but at least he would have had the time to maybe reassess the situation, watch the crash back, and maybe just go, this is actually how I'm going to deal with this situation. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but
yeah, it was a bad look for
everyone.
Yeah,
the thing is, like, I don't want to like pile on Jake or whatever, but if he's trying to get a MotoGP ride, things like this are going to go way against him if he can't manage himself in a way that is acceptable for a PR standard. Like, I respect a lot that he wears his heart on his sleeve. I respect a lot that he's not afraid to speak his mind. And I respect a lot that there's no BS with Jake, he'll kind of say it how it is. And I do like that from him. But there's a lot of things you have to take into account. You can't discipline a rider just because they've got previous history, because Marc Marquez would have been banned from the paddock about 5-10 years ago.
Yeah.
You can only kind of judge it as each incident as it comes. Of course, if there are repeat offences of the same incident where a rider's doing things and they're not learning from it, then yeah, fair enough. But Binder, it was more of a racing incident because they kind of both went for the same line anyway. Dixon was on the outside, cut in, and Binder was there.
Yeah, it wasn't like a reckless move like you could maybe say in Portimao in 2021, and like
the one where Costa won the
title.
That you could expect a reaction more like that from an incident like that, but this was really, it was fine margins. They were going for the same line. It wasn't reckless.
The first lap of the race.
First lap, equally Jake could have been like, he's probably Darryn Binder. If he's got him built up in his head like that as well, he could probably think, I might just give a little bit more room here because this guy is likely on the inside of me, and if I do cut inside, he's probably going to punt me off, and that's what happened. Not to be victim blaming, but it takes two to tango with racing. He could have done something on his end, I'm sure, to mitigate that, because it's kind of what you have to do. First lap, bikes everywhere. Maybe you give a bit more room and you don't head back to the racing line, but I don't know. It's a tricky one, and like the manufacturers in MotoGP that are, let's say, looking right now to preferably bring people up are the Japanese manufacturers, let's be honest, because no one in the GP paddock already is wanting to jump over from a European bike. But, and so the Japanese manufacturers are more sort of, shall we say, PR conscious about, how their riders behave.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
I can't imagine Honda or Yamaha looking at that interview and thinking, that's our guy. So,
yeah.
And those are the teams that are really, I would say, looking maybe further afield for riders at people like Dixon. But hey, I'm not in the paddock. I don't know these things.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the same as Declan. I like that he said his honest opinion on the matter, and I always like when riders are 100% open and honest about the situation. I hate when you get a PR trained answer, or they don't really say anything at all, which is what we hear a lot in the media from riders, is just some answer that doesn't actually give you any information at all. And Jake's one of the best at actually going, well, this is actually what's happening, and this is how I feel about it, and this is what the team thinks about it. But he probably didn't even have a chance to rewatch that crash back before he even said anything, and he's obviously seen that it was Darryn Binder, or someone's told him that it was Darryn Binder, and he's just, which is automatic reaction, just gone, that guy's an idiot, that he does this all the time. And I think if he'd actually gone back and watched it, and again taken that time to speak with the team and his close friends and family around him, he would have calmed down before speaking to the media. They should have waited until after the race at least
Yeah.
to
He
speak
was
to him.
fuming. Like,
Yeah.
he was in pit lane trying to go down to the Intact garage, and he had Nico Terol pulling back and all that. And then,
Seriously?
yeah, he was in pit lane trying to, go into the Intact garage to scream at them, and then Terol had to pull him back, and then he went into his own garage and was screaming and shouting, and
Swore on live
absolutely
TV.
just,
Yeah.
swearing on live TV and stuff.
Love
But
that.
there is irony in the whole situation, because Darryn Binder got taken out 3 races in a row, and he's not calling for anyone to be banned. But yeah,
I say nothing.
Yeah, the whole ordeal just made me cringe a bit.
Oh, very cringeworthy. I think he's gone down in the estimations of a lot of people. Like, I wanted to start a fire maybe a little bit and posted that Jake Dixon has said these things, and as you can imagine, the comments on social media are saying all sorts of things against Jake. So you can imagine the kind of public are not in favour of Dixon at the moment. I think maybe in the coming days he'll come out with a statement and be like, "Look, I'm really sorry. It was in the moment," things like that. But in the same way, none of this should happen. I don't see how TNT have not taken Ogden's situation last year when he said, I can't remember what he said, but he said something pretty wild on the same broadcaster's network about a rider. It was against, who was it? It was probably about Munoz, I think. But,
I can't remember what it was.
probably,
It was last year. It was late in the season last year, and I remember
And
him
he
going
said
off on
something.
one, and I remember everyone being like, "He is gonna get slapped about by the team."
and
like
the media, social media went on a wildfire against him. It was really bad, and I think Jake can handle it a bit more than Scott, because Scott's still a teenager kind of thing, but you'd have thought they'd learnt their lesson, but clearly not. And maybe Hodgson, who's very clearly a Jake Dixon fan, and his mates of Jake maybe thought that he'd get the best out of Jake in that situation. But when someone's that riled up and pent up, the last thing you want to do is put them on live TV.
I think the fact that Neil was the one to do it as well maybe made it worse. It probably made Jake more comfortable to just sort
honest,
of be more of a sort of stream of consciousness rant thing. Whereas if it had been more of a just sort of generic pundit, if you will, he might have thought like more in his head, like, "Oh, I'm talking to press here, not my mate."
Yeah, it's like Dawn or whatever.
I think that's what it was as well, because if you do watch it back, in my head he didn't address the camera that much. Like, he was fully just ranting it out, and I feel like, you see a familiar face in front of you that you speak to all the time, and you speak to outside of the media because they are friends, and he's just, it maybe would have been better to have that conversation between the two of them, obviously with the cameras cut. Neil could have been like, "Okay, let's say that all again, but in a way that's not like you ranting on about it or being completely raging about it." Like, how, I don't know. But the rest of the commentators just didn't really say anything afterwards either. Like, no one really knew what to say, which was what made it even more awkward, that everyone else was like, "Yep, that's just happened," and we sort of just have to brush over it.
I think, well, the race still being on for a start kind of meant that
kind of helped.
Gavin, because we're like, "Oh, let's just move on from that." But bit of an awkward one.
Well,
but we love to see it. It keeps it all interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to talk about. So
exactly, yeah. On to another comment made by a rider that was very interesting. Was Marc Marquez was also interviewed by TNT Sports on the grid, and Marquez basically said, "Don't expect better than 12th place from me," which is a kind of drop in the ocean of a ton of rumours about Marc potentially moving to Gresini Ducati next year, next to his brother Aleix. And
That
it's
would be so
kind
good.
of a weird comment. Oh yeah, it'd be amazing, but it's a weird comment for Marc to make, because we know Marc Marquez would always be like, "I'm going to win. I'm going to win this. I'm going to do all I can to win." And now he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll maybe get 12th."
He's given up.
It's maybe like he's given up on the project, and if to the point where he's like, "I don't want to get injured again, so that I can actually ride that Ducati next year and not get diplopia or break my arm again. So let's just ride nowhere near the limit." And yet somehow he still crashed today. He is still yet to finish a Grand Prix this year. With 9 races. Johan Mir, his teammate, out of the 17 races he has done this year, he's crashed out 10 of them.
Poor bugger, honestly.
That is mental.
I feel bad for them both at this point now. Like, yeah, the sympathy is there. Mark really wasn't Mark in that pre-race interview. Like, Michael Laverty said to him, do you want it to rain? Because then obviously it would be a flag to flag and you'd be able to go out and have a bike swap and you're really good at that. And he said, I was really good at that.
Ever.
Yeah, he was like, I used to be good at that. So that was already number one of like, wait a second, why are you referring already to yourself in the past tense? And then continued to go on to say, don't expect any better than 12th, which he was in before he crashed out. So
yeah, he was ironic.
With one wing, which is kind of impressive, to be honest. On such a fast track. But, I don't know. I think something's changed in the background that we're going to hear about in the coming weeks.
I still think retirement. I can't see a Grassini move. I don't know.
Digia's pretty much out. That's like not official, but it's like everyone's kind of accepted Digia is out.
Yeah.
He was in the World Superbike paddock at Imola looking for a seat. Arbolino's not been confirmed to that team. And there's rumours of Johan Zarco moving to Honda, and has said he would be happy to take on the Honda project, provided he's given a 2-year contract and not a 1-year. Obviously, that LCR Honda seat is now open because Alex Rins has been officially confirmed to Yamaha, as we said in the podcast last week, which opens Franco Morbidelli, puts him in the open. Morbidelli has also been rumoured to LCR Honda. So there's a lot of switching and moving around, but Paolo Ciabatti says he really wants Morbidelli on a Ducati.
That's what I was just about to say. Like, over the weekend, obviously Frankie's probably had some of the biggest rumours about him because he's open to go anywhere. You know, it says that he's leaving Yamaha, so that means, probably a complete new manufacturer in MotoGP rather than maybe staying with Yamaha and going to World Superbikes. But the Ducati rumour definitely got bigger over the weekend with him and Luca Marini lining up against each other or with each other in VR46 next year, because VR46 team boss and the likes of Paolo Ciabatti all going, oh yeah, we'd love to have Frankie in the team. Yeah. Sort of makes you go that there's been a conversation there and there's definitely something going on.
Going on from that, it's a weird one because then you think, okay, then Bazecchi would be the one to move out to maybe Pramac.
Factory bike.
Then Uccio and the rest of the team are now pushing Ducati to get a factory bike for Bez in the VR46 squad, which then could mean maybe Morbidelli to Pramac. Zarco has a contract with Pramac next year. The only reason that Rins got to break his LCR contract was because there was a clause saying if a factory seat comes available and you're offered it, you can leave. Mm-hmm. So my only thing is thinking, the only way I can think of this, if Zarco wants Honda, maybe he's got the same clause, so Zarco could go to Repsol, Morbidelli to replace Marquez, Morbidelli could then slot in at Pramac.
Yeah.
But then who goes LCR? LCR Honda, it was pretty much a done deal that Icola Corona was going to go there as of Friday. Now everything there has changed. Icola Corona could still go there.
A lot of people saying with that one that maybe there's been like pre-contracts or contracts have been drawn up or discussions have maybe been had, but nothing's been signed yet by the sounds of it with Lacona.
I can imagine he is almost certain to be on a Honda next year. Whether it's in Superbikes or GP is unknown, but I can't see him wanting to leave the Honda rider because at a minimum for him, he can contest and win the Suzuka 8 Hours, which is what he would have done this weekend if he wasn't at Silverstone. They did go and win the Suzuka 8 Hours with Yavi Vierge, Nagashima and Takahashi, I believe. I believe the third one was Takahashi. They won the Suzuka 8 Hours. Lecona could have won that for a second time in his career. He's kind of got a spearheaded role in the factory Honda squad as well in the Superbikes, or he can jump back into MotoGP. He's pretty much open, but I think he'll stay with Honda, and I don't think he cares too much about where he goes.
He just
Yeah.
wants to be in the class, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's just a lot of movement now. And I think it all depends on Marc Marquez and where he goes.
Yeah.
If he even chooses to leave Honda, which I can't see him wanting to risk his life. Like Jorge Lorenzo said, it's the risk and the reward was outweighed now by the risk rather than the reward, which is why Lorenzo retired.
Yeah.
I can kind of see that with Marc Marquez and the Honda. I think if he signed a 1-year deal with Gresini Ducati, was still the same next year, Marquez would retire.
Yeah.
I think
What's
Alex is
the-
going to pull... Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, what's the point in Mark signing like a short contract for a satellite squad? You know,
Test it out,
Because-
I guess.
it might not work out, is the thing. We all just assume he's going to jump on a Ducati and it would all be sunshine and rainbows, but
That's why he's doing a 1-year deal, I guess. Isn't it?
yeah, that could maybe not be the case. I don't know. The more I hear from him, the more I'm still thinking retirement, because it's like, what's the point anymore?
Yeah.
Is the vibe I'm getting. It's definitely the vibe I got today, anyway.
The fact that if these rumours are true, that Marquez would hop onto a year-old bike in a satellite squad instead of being in the Repsol team shows how desperate he would be to get out of Honda if that's the situation where he goes
Yeah.
into a year-old bike in not even the top Ducati team, in the 4th Ducati team. Because
But-
at the moment, like they were 3rd overall last year, but at the moment I would say the pecking order would be Factory, Pramac, VR46, which is the order of the championship, and then Gresini down further on. But all 4 teams are still capable of winning races.
Exactly, yeah. Like Alex showed us that. It's still a race-winning bike.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like 2020 Rossi vibes in a way. It's like the factory thing and everything is just like not working out. I mean, sure, Rossi stayed on at Yamaha when he went to a satellite, but it still was just kind of like the waning of a great career sort of thing. And I mean, Marquez jumping on a Ducati could, you know, and I would love to see it. I'd love to see him win races and stuff again, but it is the sort of last chance saloon thing, I think, sort of like Rossi going to that Petronas Yamaha. It's that kind
it
of
gives
feeling.
massive Rossi vibes of like, is it just sort of delaying the inevitable
Yeah.
here? Or are we just sort of stringing it out because there's a glimmer of hope that a good performance could come in? I think he could
Yeah.
win races on a Ducati, of course, but I just don't know if he'd be able to string together a championship.
Then I think the only thing that is going for him is the fact that he's probably fed up of Alex Marquez in his ear telling him how much easier it is. Because
I
Alex
agree.
Marquez, who has made that move from a Honda to a Ducati and can now fight at the front. Alex Marquez was okay on a Honda. He wasn't great. To then being great on a Ducati. So then for a great rider on a Honda to go to a Ducati, who Alex and Marquez, they're brothers. They have come up through the GP ranks the same way. They learned to ride bikes the same way on the left-handed flat tracks. If anybody knows how Marquez rides, and if anyone is similar to Marc Marquez, it of course would be Alex. If Alex can fight for wins on a Ducati, I don't see why Marc couldn't.
Yeah. I always say
That'd be
this,
the only thing.
that Mark always says that Alex is the faster brother.
Yeah,
Of course,
it's a weird one.
But I mean, it's because
What a
It's like a
backhanded
fake
insult.
bing
yeah,
bong
exactly.
ball.
No one's going to be like, oh,
Yeah, I
no one's going to
believe you.
take that seriously, giving the trophy cabinet of the two of them. No one's going to be like, oh, it must be. Like, no one's going to take that seriously. I
Yeah.
don't anyway.
No.
I mean, everything that Deck just said makes sense, but then how often do things in the world of motorbike racing actually kind of just
Yeah.
make pragmatic
Well, we all
sense like
thought
that?
Paul Espargaro would be the man to turn Honda around. Then it was like, maybe Johan Mir will be the man to turn Honda around.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. It just doesn't. Yeah, things just don't kind of add up that way at all. There's just so
They don't.
much more nuance.
It works out on
to it.
paper, but then when it comes into practicality, no.
It comes down to that very unquantifiable thing of, does the bike work with the rider? Does it work for
Yeah.
them? You know, and you can make it. You can spend 2 seasons trying to make it fit as best you can, and then start getting maybe top 10s, top 5s. But if the bike just kind of works, then you get a Bastianini effect of just coming in onto that Ducati, and it all just sort of gelled, and he won, like, it wasn't his first race, but I mean, first race on a race winning Ducati, you know.
Well, it's to back up what you've just said. Everyone thought Enea Bastianini would be the man on the Ducati this year, and then he comes to Silverstone and says, "Yeah, I'm 100% fit now." So you're like, right, okay, you're probably going to be up there with Pecco, and he's nowhere to be seen, and then crashes out.
It's the consistency thing for him, though, because obviously in his first year, that bike that he was on was a decent enough bike, but wasn't what he needed to win races. He steps onto the Grassini bike. It's what he needs to win races. But he was so, like, he won 3 races last year, but he was so up and down in his performance.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And with Jorge Martin was the same, but
a bit
it
more
was like
up and
Enea
down.
was just the best of the two.
Well, Enea was winning, whereas Jorge Martin wasn't, and that's the difference. But now Enea's on a bike that can be there every single weekend at every single racetrack, and you think that after missing so much of the first half of the season that he'd come back being ready to go at Silverstone, and he just was off the pace all weekend. So
yeah, it's a weird one, and you could say because of the injury and things like that, which would make sense, and you know I get that completely, but I don't know, like, you're on the factory Ducati team now. They got rid of Jack Miller, who could win races for them on that bike for you, and you're nowhere to be seen whilst your teammate is on battling for race wins again.
It's a consistency problem. It always has been. I always said that they would give Enea Bastianini another year. I think he's got another year anyway, but wouldn't be the first time Ducati have just turned around and been like, never mind.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Enea isn't contracted to the factory Ducati team. He's contracted to Ducati, as is Martin, as is Zarco. Ducati can put them wherever they want.
Yeah.
So if Ducati want to do a swap at the end of this year, obviously Jorge Martin would have to break his Red Bull deal, and so there's a bit of about that. But if they want to swap them over, they can.
Mm-hmm.
So Enea, although he's had 1 year and he's been injured most of the year, Ducati have even said that they're not really looking to swap them around. Jorge Martin sits in second in the championship at the moment on a satellite bike. He was also the guy Ducati didn't pick, so it kind of looked bad on Ducati for picking the wrong guy as well.
It's just, but how were they to know? That's the other thing. It's like, how were they to know that Enea Bastianini was going to get injured in the first race of the season? Because I do think that would have changed so much
because
this
his confidence
season.
and the stuff will be down and things like that.
Yeah, so he's got a mountain to climb, but his inconsistency in the past has been something that I've always thought about with Enea Bastianini. So I just hope that he can maybe string it together a bit more and get up there.
He needed... Sorry, go on.
Yeah. No, carry on. I've lost my train of thought.
No, I was just saying, like, he needed the first half of this season to iron out the inconsistency, you know, and now, you know, he's lost that. He might start to find some consistent form in a couple of rounds. I mean, we've still got, 11 rounds left? You know, he can still make a decent charge. He's not going to win the championship, but if he takes another handful of rounds to develop a bit of consistency and really sort of get to grips with the team and the bike and everything, then I think we could probably see Bastianini win another round this year. But
I'd say he will.
Take a bit.
Yeah, but I don't know, because this weekend's just showed that anyone can win.
Yeah,
like literally anyone.
How are you
meant to predict
unless
it?
you're on a Honda or a Yamaha? But
yeah, that's a bit different. But it's an interesting one with everything really. Going into the MotoGP race itself, there's a lot of controversy as always with race direction. Actually, no. Before we go on to that, Pit Byra spoke to Alex Hoffman on Service TV and confirmed there will be at least five KTMs on the MotoGP grid next year.
That's good.
Which, of course, confirms Costa to
does.
MotoGP.
Yeah.
I don't know how. I don't know the logistics of how they're going to do that.
They're going to do
But
like
that
a
is
Repsol Honda.
what he said.
Oh, with
Just
3
three of them.
bikes. Yeah.
Yeah, they could do.
I loved that. That'd be good.
Yeah, that would be cool. But yeah, so that's the rumour. Anyway, going on to the MotoGP race, like I said, there was controversy with the stewards, as always, with Matt Oxley, MotoGP journalist since 1988. Basically posted a screenshot from a chat of, I guess, someone from Ducati that says, "Hi everyone, as an FYI, we went to speak with the stewards after the MotoGP race regarding Francesco Bagnaglia's track limits on the last lap, because as we saw, Bagnaia pretty much was on the green.
He was on
and
the-
should
he
really
was-
He
have been
was,
demoted
unless
to
he was
green.
levitating over it, he was on the green.
Yeah, and they said that, so reading from it, said, right, Francesco Bagnaglia's track limits on last lap, but they confirmed to us that no sensor was triggered by Pecco, and therefore the result will not change. Matt Oxley said that the stewards are a joke. The naked eye shows Bagnaia was on the green, but the sensors didn't work, so no offence committed. MotoGP becoming a joke.
I would love to know. Oh no, sorry. Go on. You finish your
No,
point.
carry on. I was finished.
I've just said, like, I would love to know what the margin of error is for these sensors. Is it literally
Yeah.
millimeter by millimeter? This is calculated. Like, what is the technology
Well,
here?
I don't
Is it a
know,
mystery? What is
Because
this?
Brad Binder looked at the green paint and
Yeah.
got given a track limits warning. Or
Twice.
Twice in the one weekend, had to give up a podium. So 2 podiums, and then Pecco Bagnaia, okay, yeah, if you demoted him a place, he still would have been 3rd. So I don't see an issue with that. But it was so clear in any picture, if you watch it full speed in a video, if you slow it down, like, I remember watching it live, like, I was literally jumping on my sofa, like,
Yeah.
he's touched the green. That's always that you are demoted a place, and then people were coming out and saying that the people behind you have to be realistically able to pass you, or they have to be within like a second or something like that. I was seeing a lot of tweets saying something along those lines, which I'm not too sure, but it just doesn't make any sense how Brad Binder gets penalised twice in the one weekend by being on the green the same amount as Pecco Bagnaia was. Like,
Less.
surely a picture is enough to prove that he was on the green.
Yeah, I think it's to do with, there's one way at the corner and you lose more than a second, then you'll get
Yeah.
penalised.
Mm-hmm.
But then there is, if you touch the green, you touch the green. If you touch the green on the last lap, you lose a place. That's
Yeah.
the rule. That is...
Or yeah.
I'm going to
like-
see if I can find the
I just,
other
Yeah.
tweet.
it does beg the question, because obviously, like, Brad's transgression at Assen looked far more minor, less severe, however you want to say it, than Pecco's today at Silverstone.
Yeah.
And like, I want to know, can it vary track to track how precise or like well set up these sensors are? Like, I don't know what the tech is. I don't understand like how it's calculated. I mean, it would have to be, for it to be the sole sole sort of arbiter as to whether or not someone did or did not transgress and actually go on the green. If it's the sole thing there, then these sensors need to be transparently tested, so that I think everybody, all teams, everyone involved can see like these things being tested and how they're like, how it's all calculated and the way it works. Because I mean, we're going to get back into the whole thing of like MotoGP being a very untransparent business at the moment, but like that needs to happen. We need to understand like why, just how precise these are going to be to essentially ruin my predictions like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found
we'll
the
get to
tweet. I found the tweet. It was from David Emmett, and he has the picture up with Pecco on the green, and he says, "Yes, Bagnaia exceeded track limits, but you only lose a position if the rider behind you had a chance of getting past you. Binder was way too far back." No, there's nothing official in that of anything
No.
from like a
'cause-
rule book, but I
Well,
don't understand.
But then what about Oliveira at Mugello? Was it last year before? He like tapped the green, I'm sure, and he got demoted a place, even though he gained no material advantage.
But that's the thing, like,
Well, it happened to Izan Guevara. Izan Guevara won a race last year, and he got the win taken away from him because he touched the green paint on the last lap.
well, do you remember Do you remember Marco Bezzecchi's first ever Moto2 win?
No.
Jorge Martin clipped the green and lost the victory, and they handed it to Bezzecchi for it.
What?
I'm just trying to find the image.
They're talking about being black and white and sort of like rules are rules, but then if someone could have made a pass or not, it sounds like a big old grey area to me.
Yeah, it sounds ridiculous. But then Matt Oxley replied to the tweet and said, I completely disagree. If Bagnaia had stayed off the green, he would have been slower out of Stowe, so Binder would have been closer and had an outside chance of passing. The gap for no penalty should be a number, not some myopic steward's opinion, i.e. 2 or more seconds.
It's funny, I've just found my own article about the whole Bezzecchi and Martin thing. But here's an image of what Jorge Martin lost a victory for.
This will be great for our listeners.
I can't wait to describe it.
I know. But look, he's on the green. It's clear as hell he's on the green. Right? Bezzecchi, the front wheel behind him is Marco Bezzecchi.
Okay.
Did Bezzecchi have a chance? No, because they were on the straight and Martin cruised to the thing. He wouldn't have gained or lost anything because they were on the straight. So why did Jorge Martin lose the victory for being on the green, yet Pecco Bagnaia didn't get demoted to place for also being on the green?
Well, look at it. Pedro Costa earlier this season, long lap penalty. I mean, that was quite the talking point.
Yeah, it was.
Took his long lap penalty. Yeah, clearly didn't touch the green. Clearly did touch the green, or the white line, or whatever it was, and they just went, oh, well, the sensors didn't go off, and this is the only camera angle we have, which is really bad, so looks like he's not taking another one.
There needs to be more data, essentially. You need some kind of camera or something, as well as the sensors, spotters, I don't know, set them up like a tennis court where you got like a little person for each line being like, it's out. You know, so do something, because this is crap.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because in the same race that Jorge Martin won, Bezzecchi also touched the green and didn't get penalised for it.
I've seen that happen before. Have you not seen that happen? There's been other races where that's happened, where 2 people have touched the green. Was that a race with Miguel Oliveira last year? 2 riders touched the green and one rider got penalised.
Could be, yeah.
And then it got reversed back when it got revealed that both riders had actually touched the green.
Yeah, I remember that happening, yeah.
That might be what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Why is it against this? Because I would think they set it in black and white. If you touch the green on the last lap, you are penalised. Okay, they have sensors there that show that Pecco did not touch the green. Fair enough. But if you can see it with your own eyes, why do you need to rely on technology?
The sensor should be a backup.
Not fair.
Yeah,
it should be. Yeah. Like the sensors are there for, like, say, during the race where people maybe exceed their track limits and they get the long lap penalty, and it's a good way to keep track when you can't watch every single rider, every single lap.
Yeah, exactly.
But when it's as clear as day as that, and you're literally looking at a picture and you have to turn around to KTM and go, well, he's not on the green. Who are you trying to fool?
It's just gaslighting.
Literally they're like, no, he's not on the green. Yes, he is.
That never happened. Yeah, it's bonkers.
Like my ex.
Yeah, it's just like, that's the thing. That's why Matt Oakley said that MotoGP. What did he say? I'm just trying to get it again. MotoGP is becoming a joke. And it's true. It is a joke, because I swear every podcast we have after a race, we're talking about flipping race direction, making the stupid decision.
What about their stupid decision with Aaron Canet?
Yeah, but it took them 9 laps to work out that he'd done an overtake on a yellow flag. Like, from lap 2 he did it on, and then lap 11. Oh yeah, by the way, demoted at a position. No, it's too far gone.
Yeah, you have to give back the place, and at this point,
that place is gone.
It was between 3rd and 4th. He'd passed under yellow flags. And by the time they told Aaron Canet that he had to give up the place, Fermin Aldeguer was actually in 1st, Aaron Canet was in second, so that means he had to then drop back to behind Pedro Acosta
Yeah.
just to
fair
then
place.
regain the place again. Like,
Yeah.
it made no
Doesn't make
sense.
No. But
Ah,
yeah.
I mean,
no.
at least they put it in place. Like, I'm glad it didn't get away without being penalised, because when you pass under yellow flags, you have to make it clear that you've given the place back, which I don't think he made a fair enough attempt at. So I fully agree that he deserved to be demoted a place, but he deserved to be demoted a place in the same lap that the
Yeah.
incident happened.
Not
or maybe
9 later.
a lap, or at most 2 laps. After that, you just look like a fool.
Like
I might
when,
start playing. Oh no, sorry. Carry on.
No,
Carry on.
carry on.
I was just gonna say I might start playing like Steward's Bingo or something.
Oh, yeah, that sounds
and
great.
take
You
a
couldn't
shot
come
every
up with
time.
it though.
Yeah.
Well, true.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
It's
Just
so
how would
bonkers.
you know?
Because
Yeah,
They're gonna
I'm
come
in the
up with
square every
something
time they do something
stupid.
unhinged. Yeah. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember because I didn't watch it live, but when Valentino Rossi overtook under yellows back at Phillip Island years ago, they just gave him a time penalty at the end of his race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, it's just weird.
They're their own worst enemy.
They
They've
are-
tried to bring too many rules in for safety, and they can't.
Yeah, they
They
can't.
can't steward it.
They're just
Yeah.
they're not well thought out. They've not sort of thought of the implications of all of these rules that they're bringing in, and they're just sort of picking and choosing which ones to follow to the letter or not. You know?
Yeah,
It's-
and then they're just ignoring other things, like when Pecco and Alex Marquez came together, they were like, meh, nothing happened. Or when Marini
Yeah.
ripped off Fabio's entire fairing, nah,
Nothing.
whatever.
it's fine.
No, he's
Or-
having a shit time anyway, so just let him
Yeah.
carry on and have a shit
Vinales-
time.
Well, when Vinales came together with Miller and destroyed Miller's race.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no,
Nothing.
not considered to be overly ambitious, no contact. Yeah, there's no contact because Miller has tried not to smash into Vinales, because if it hit Vinales, he'd be given a penalty for it for being overly
Yeah.
ambitious.
But the problem is that a lot of people are saying now that they have favourite riders and some riders aren't getting penalised. And I always try to say, no, that's not the case. But the more this goes on, the more it's like, oh God, like Pecco's not getting penalties, Pedro Costa's not getting penalties, you know, but everyone
Yeah.
else seems to be getting
It's a bit of bias. it
unfairly.
seems.
Yeah, it seems to be that some people are getting really shafted here, while some other people who maybe should have got penalties
Yeah, and
just are
I don't
getting away
like
with it.
And I don't want to like go on like, oh, MotoGP's dodgy, or you know, there's maybe bribery going on in MotoGP. It does seem to be that some riders linked to people who are prominent in the paddock seem to have a little bit more leeway. Riders, as they say, there are people. You always hear people going on about Spanish riders getting like, you know, a bit more leeway and things like
Yeah.
that, and it is true to a degree. It's not like obviously certain, but you do see more commonly than not a Spanish rider may get a little bit of an advantage, like Vinales and Miller, for example, getting a little bit of leeway, a little bit of, like Pedro as well, a little bit of more wiggle room to
Yeah. It's just
not
hard
get
to
penalised.
stand up for it and
Yeah,
be
you
like,
couldn't- you
no,
couldn't,
it's
like-
clear they're trying to do case by case basis, which is why they're making bad decisions, etc., etc. But I don't know, this year in particular seems to be okay. It's getting a bit more blatantly obvious
Yeah.
now that
But it's not
Yeah.
obvious to the point where you can like stand up in front of them and say a court and be like, oh yeah, this is what you're doing wrong,
yeah,
because there's no way to prove that. It's just kind of like, it's just a bit weird that there are some offences that get penalised and others don't as well.
yeah.
But,
Don't have a rule book if you're not going to use it.
Exactly. But yeah, on to the actual race itself. It was great to see Jack Miller in the opening few laps, obviously at the front again. It's very good in the opening laps on that KTM.
He
He
is.
seems to just find his way to the front every single time without fail. I think I can count on maybe two hands now the amount of races he's led at the start. Le Mans being another one. Mugello, I think, Mugello he led into turn one as well.
Yep,
He's
he just
pretty
needs
good at that.
that longevity that I don't know that mainly the Ducatis seem to have. I don't know. I reckon Jack would have been fighting for the title this year if he stayed on the Ducati, but
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'd-
he's certainly not having a
definitely.
bad season on the KTM. It's better than people thought he was going to have, I'm sure. But yeah, it's got like clearly it's fast, just not for very long.
yeah.
Yeah, that seems to be his issue. Like, he looked really, really speedy, but then obviously when he went back a few places and was getting caught up with people, and then obviously getting punted out the way he did. I do think he would have probably ended up at the back of the group anyway and finished about 5th or 6th in that race, but Brad Binder managed to keep it going, so there's hope there that the KTM does have the longevity and the pace is there, like the race pace is there, so hopefully coming up to the likes of the Red Bull Ring and stuff, he'll be able to convert that to a possible podium, I think.
Yeah,
I think so.
that's it. I think seeing Vinales getting a good start as well, obviously we know that that's been his kind of downfall for many years now, so to see him get a good start and stay in the front group for the entire race was
and
really
a bit more
good.
aggressive. It's good.
Yeah, and he was very aggressive. Some of the moves he was making on Brad Binder as well, I was like, whoa!
Yeah.
I was majorly impressed, but it seemed to be the case as always that Francesco Bagnaia took the lead quite early on, and he pretty much led the entire race until the last few corners when Aleix Espargaro, who started in 12th, was able to pip him and take his second ever Grand Prix victory.
We love Aleix.
Yeah,
We do.
I was very
That was
happy to see
incredible.
that. And the people going about like, oh, it's a Ducati Cup, but we had 3 Aprilias in the top 5 and only 1 Ducati there.
Yeah, Ducati didn't have
good point.
a great weekend,
No, they
to be
didn't at all.
honest.
A bit of a shocker, to be fair. Like, it was pretty much Pecco just carrying the Ducati on his back.
But that's it's a consistency thing all round this year, is that Pecco is being able to make mistakes, or being allowed to make mistakes, because none of his competition is consistent enough. Like Aleix Espargaro last year would be fighting for the championship.
Yep.
But this is the first time we've really seen him battle for not only just podium but win as well this weekend. So
Yeah, exactly. But he's all the way down 6th in the championship, so it doesn't really affect his battle. And then you've got, by now, his closest 2 rivals in the championship, Jorge Martin, who did get punted on the start of the race and did, have to take evasive action. So it was unfair to see him get pushed aside, because now it's like 41 points, I think I want to say. Yeah, 41 points he now is in deficit to Bagnaia. But then another rider that's just behind him in the championship is Marco Bezzecchi, who retired from the race, crashing at 205 miles an hour. I think on the Hanger Straight, was it? It was either Hanger or Wellington. I think it was the Hanger. I don't know.
I can't remember.
it was crazy.
It was the one heading towards the start-finish line anyway. Yeah, he crashed there at 205 miles an hour. But again, because he's been a bit greedy, he could have gone wide.
Yeah.
But he chose to
He
no
should
and
have.
continue.
Yeah,
he should have, yeah.
He was faster than Bagnaia, and he knew he was faster than Bagnaia, and he was getting sucked in for like 2-3 laps before that, where he was just that little bit too far off. He was closing in on Bagnaia fast, and the commentators said it the lap before. They were like, whoa, that's a bit sketchy there. He's getting dragged in. He's braking really late. And then literally we were on board, like his onboard camera, and we just watched him completely, same corner, completely wipe out. It's, just being overly ambitious. And if he'd waited literally, I'd say a lap, 2 laps, he would have been on Pecco, and he could have made a sensible move.
Especially when they all bunched up at the end, he could have been in that fight with all them lot.
Yeah.
And even if he didn't, because he probably thought, right, I've got to take this chance now before it disappears from me. Obviously, you can't look into the future and have your little crystal ball, but hindsight, looking back, he could have afforded to just actually chill, save his tyres a little bit, because it would have ended up in a 5-rider scrap later on. There could have been a 6-rider if he was there. With 7 laps to go, the rain came in, and the top 4 bunched up, and then Miguel Oliveira, who was on some sort of rocket ship today, caught up to the rest of them as well and was joining in. But that's the thing with Oliveira. He's had that pace all year long, but because of his injuries and things like that, we've not been able to see it. But he has been superb on that Aprilia.
Yeah, he would have been the consistent Aprilia rider this year, because it was clear he had pace from the get-go, and then obviously being injured, coming back, getting injured again, It's easy to say that he would have been consistent, but all the performances that he's put in so far.
Any race he's been allowed to finish, he's done well.
Yeah, he's been great, exactly. So I'm really excited for the second half of the season for him. I think he deserved the podium, but Yeah,
Austria next time
exactly.
out is very good for Miguel Oliveira.
Yeah.
And Brad Binder, who finally got a podium. Like
Yeah.
he deserved it, but
Yeah,
Did you
because
see,
that was his. Oh, sorry, Karen.
No, go.
I was just going to say that was the second podium of the year in the main race. It's just
yeah.
mad to think, considering he's fourth in the championship at the moment.
Who is Brad?
Binder.
Yeah. It stresses me out, like how inconsistent everyone is.
That's the thing. Like, you go back through the last, say, 5 results of everybody. Pecco has either got a 1. He got first in Mugello, second in Germany, first in Assen, second in Great Britain with a retirement in Le Mans at the start. And in sprint races, he's gone third, first, second, then obviously he didn't score any points in GBR. Everyone else is nowhere near that consistency. The only person who's as consistent and taken consistent podiums is Johan Zarco in 5th with 3 podiums of those 5 in the main races. That is. We've got Jorge Martin in the second, and first. But again, the last 2 races, he's finished 5th and then 6th, and 6th in the sprint races.
It's just Pecco's going to be able to run away with it due to other people's
He can
inability
crash. He
to
can
string
crash
it
out of
together.
Austria, and be fine. You know.
Well, that's the thing. He literally could crash out of both races, and the chances are that one of either Jorge Martin or Marco Bezzecchi, someone will have a mistake somewhere that'll mean Pecco will still have, say, a 10-point advantage, even if he scored no points in a weekend.
Yeah, because he's got 41 points, so he's got max you can get in a weekend is 37, so he's got a full race weekend on anybody anyway. But I don't know, no one seems to be wanting it as much, or they are, and they're just too greedy with it, like Bezzecchi was today.
Yeah, I do feel Jorge Martin had a shot today if the start of the race hadn't have been the way that it was. But
the fact that he fought his way back up to 6th, though, just shows
really
how
impressive.
good he is. Yeah. I'm glad that he is going to stay with Ducati next year as well, because I was quite worried when those Yamaha rumours were floating around.
But I think that Alex Rins makes more sense. I don't think that would have been that would have been silly, I think. I don't think it would have worked.
Like I said in the last podcast, Alex Rins is perfect for that seat in Yamaha. I can't imagine a better rider to go to that bike, to be honest. Yeah. But and the Fabio incident was interesting, just to see his fairing get ripped off.
Well, he had a really good race. You can't deny that.
He was like 7th.
Yeah, he went from last place to 7th. Like, I know some people crashed in front of him, but
yeah, you got to stay on.
At the end of the day, you got to stay on. And for the fact that he got the complete front of his bike ripped off, switched onto his other bike, and still managed. I think he finished 15th in the end.
Yeah, he
still
got a point.
Yeah. Like, pretty mad. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying, like, changing the results and saying that he did actually finish 7th. But
nice.
Yeah, that was a more Fabio style race, I think. Like, he has pace and he showed it, but it was just unfortunate that he had to start from the back of the grid due to no fault other than his own. But
of course.
What were his lap times like compared to the leaders?
I'll get them up now. Just have a quick look.
It's just such a hard fall to watch,
can't
isn't
get
it?
them up.
Oh no!
Yeah, sorry, I can't get them up because MotoGP's new website doesn't have the flipping PDFs.
What? What are they doing?
Well, all I know is if you compare it to his teammate who was faster than him all weekend, I don't what happened to Frankie Morbidelli in the race.
He was nowhere near, really.
Well, he was ahead initially. He was like 9th or something.
Yeah.
And then he was doing okay.
He changed for a wet bike. Yeah, he changed to a wet bike. Him along with he was like Augusto Fernandez and
Digi as well.
Digi and Raul maybe as well.
Well,
all switched for their.
If you're not at the back, you might as well.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of Raul, he took his best ever MotoGP finish today in 10th place.
Oh, it wouldn't have been Raul then. Never mind.
Yeah, 10th place for Raul. That's all right. It's tricky conditions and stuff like that. His best ever result, first top 10 in MotoGP. Showing some progress. If I was Raul, I'd take that.
Yeah. Kind of a weird race to take 10th, though. I think, if you stayed on the slicks, you were kind of guaranteed to be...
I think he did.
I mean, as long as you stayed
I can't remember. He might not.
I don't know if he did.
I don't think he did actually got it. Lecuona.
Whoever was at the back. Oh yeah, it would have been like
I've got it
Lecuona and
here.
Nakagami.
I've got here. Let's have a look. This is going to take too long, actually, think about it. Oh yeah, Digi, Morbidelli, Nakagami, Lecuona.
Okay.
There you go.
Makes
So
sense.
Morbidelli pitted as well. Still got 14th.
Yeah.
No, but he was up there.
Yeah, he was. Morbidelli was like 8th, wasn't he, at one point?
Yeah, and then he
Yeah.
dropped back and then was in that back group who else
Yeah.
pitted, so he obviously pitted too.
Yeah, but it's very impressive to see Aleix Espargaro take the lead on the last lap.
Oh,
I was absolutely
What a
screaming
move.
the All-Star for him.
That is the first time I've been like up out of my seat
Oh,
in
yeah.
a long time
I was
for a
like,
MotoGP race. Like every
Yeah.
week a Moto3 race, I'm up out of my seat, but
Oh, yeah.
not usually for a MotoGP race. So
No.
that's how you know it's been a good one.
Yeah, it was an outstanding race, really.
it was.
And it's funny because when Aleix won his first race, I was like, that is amazing. I was so happy for him. But I was like, I don't know if he'll win a second one. At the start of this year as well, I was like, I don't think he's going to win a second one. It's proved me wrong.
Yeah. And I thought in those conditions it would be Brad Binder. Like when they started coming
Yeah.
together, like I messaged the group chat. I
He
was
was
like,
on
yeah,
fire, though.
Binder.
When they came together,
Yeah.
he was just overtaking everyone.
Yep.
yeah. But there you go.
Yeah.
Aleix Espargaro.
Aleix Espargaro, the king of this weekend at
Yeah.
Silverstone. Yeah, superb. Superb.
Yeah, it was a great move, and I think Pecco maybe thought about it, but Aleix was like, "No, don't you dare!
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
absolutely
Oh, yeah,
no way.
100%.
Yeah. I will.
Yeah.
It was win it or bid it, and he was going to take
Yeah.
Pecco with him, I think. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, which could have
100%.
been spicy.
But yeah, and then in the main GP race, a few shout outs, I guess, to Augusto Fernandez in 11th. I guess Paul Espargaro made his return, 12th place. I'd say that was all right.
He was
for Paul.
good. I feel
Yeah.
like he had a good weekend. It was solid to get him back
Yeah.
into the swing
Didn't
of things.
crash.
and-
He must have been so
yeah.
nervous.
He said
Yeah.
that. I feel like I read that somewhere that he said how nervous he was going out on track.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. To
And
be
then the
fair.
mixed conditions too. Like not only are you coming back
Yeah.
after a career-ending crash, but to come in and then the weather be the way it was.
Yeah.
Madness.
Oh, yeah. He did so well. And yeah, he should be proud of himself, I think. Because there's not many people who can actually come back the way they did. Because a lot of people would have hung their levers up after a crash like that because
I think so.
he could have been paralysed, you know?
It's
Yeah.
not the Espargaro way though.
No, it's
No.
true.
No.
True.
Wouldn't be
So-
like them.
He did well. Heading to Moto 2. There was that big crash at the start, wasn't there? Like I could
I
see
feel so
Gomez
bad.
on the thing. I could see Gomez on the grass and I was like, oh my
Oh
god.
dear.
Yeah, and then the camera cut and I went,
Yeah.
that's gonna be like a bowling ball.
Yeah.
It's gonna
It
not
was
be good.
nasty. Who got knocked out? Foggia, Harder,
Skinner.
Gomez and
Skinner.
Skinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Of course.
I said
After his
that
best
it went.
qualifying.
He went down, and then the camera cut, and I went, "That's Skinner out." And my
I was
brother was like,
like-
"What?" And I was like, "100%," because you could just tell where it was going to end up on track. And then they played the replay, and yeah,
It's so
You just
typical,
knew.
isn't it? Gutting for him because, he had his best ever qualifying so far in P21. Rory wasn't happy about it, as you'd expect from a racer. But to end up in the dirt like that sucks for him.
It's just one of these
honestly. It's a
things
big
where,
shame.
like, just time on the bike is just being taken away from you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just-
Yeah, exactly,
You can't
yeah.
build the
'Cause
momentum and the feeling and confidence.
Yeah, because he had that crash and missed the last few rounds as well at
Yeah.
Mugello, and then he gets back on. He doesn't even get one race lap. He gets a corner or two corners.
Gets collected by a bike. Yeah.
Yeah,
it was
it's-
big. It was a big crash. I was surprised
Yeah.
to see all of them up and walking away from it. To be
Yeah,
honest.
it was very big, but I'm glad they're all right. And then obviously Dixon was taken out the first lap as well. Wasn't very happy at all.
Oh, was he not?
No, it was weird that, yeah. And then
Really, I didn't hear anything.
yeah, and then to see Lopez and Alonso Lopez crash out a bit later was weird.
Yeah, what happened?
I
Did
don't
he lose
know.
the rear?
We've
He just lost the front, I think.
never seen the
That's
replay properly.
Yeah, but he kind of just crashed out. But
Yeah.
maybe a bit of pressure because he saw his teammate was there.
I think so.
Because Fermin Aldeguer has kind of been the number 2 in the team, kind of following on his footsteps of Lopez. It really should have been the other way around because of how well Fermin did in the FAM CEV.
Yeah.
And so you kind of thought that it would be Furman killing it and Lopez doing the same, but it's kind of been the other way around. And so now that we're seeing Aldeguer doing what everyone expected him to do, Lopez is now going the other way a little bit. He was third in the championship the other week. Now he's fourth, 92 points. He was lucky. Oh no, that's old. That is old. Ignore me. He is fifth in the championship now.
Oh.
92 points. So he's dropped 2 places from third.
That has an effect on you mentally when you're a whippersnapper.
I would say so.
Yeah, I think, Fermin being slightly younger as well. I feel like the two of them get on really well as well.
Yeah, they do. They're good friends, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like they do compare themselves to each other. I feel like because they get on so well.
There's no other Boscos on the grid.
Yeah, so they're so competitive. Like, you are racing against one other person.
Yeah.
And Fermin definitely had the pace. And Alonso was clearly pushing hard to keep up with him.
Furman was on fire today. Furman has rocketed up the standings to 7th.
What?
From 11th overall to 7th. He's shot up the standings thanks to that victory today. And he's actually now only, let's do some quick maths, 92 minus 74 is 22. That can't be wrong. That's wrong.
No.
Minus 74 is 18 is the other side. There's only 18 points between them now. Both of them are capable of winning races.
Yeah.
If Lopez can't stay on the bike, you're going to see that the team order flip around a little bit, I think.
Yeah.
Because they've got their own little championship happening. It's just a two bike table. You know?
There are rumours that next year we will see them change. Io, Gas and Husqvarna swap to Bosco-Scuro.
Oh.
That's a rumour that's been in the paddock as well.
I would welcome that so much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Also...
especially like A teams like that as well.
Yeah, exactly. One more thing as well. So far, this race today is the first race that Kalex haven't won this year. Kalex have won every single race this year in the Constructors' Championship.
I'm not surprised though. Do you know what I mean?
No,
because it's a lot of averages. There's only 2 other.
They could have won all races this season, and I wouldn't be surprised.
No, well, I think they did. I think last year they won it with like 9 or 10 rounds to go because they won every single one.
Well, yeah, because Lopez was the only one winning races.
Yeah.
Is there still MV Augustas on the grid?
No, there's a forward chassis, but I don't understand that because there's not an MV Agusta. I don't really understand what it is anymore, to be honest, because there's only on the constructors, it's only Kalex and Bosco-Scuro that's on there, and the forward team. Let's have a look. Let's check Marcos Ramirez. No, it doesn't say what he's on. He's just on the forward chassis, but they're not in the constructors championship, which is strange.
Interesting.
Yeah, very weird,
Kinda.
but very good race. Canet though, again misses out on another victory.
Yep, and but this is the story of so many like veterans' careers now. You've got these young, hot talents coming through that are just making them think, God, is it too late now?
Aaron Canet is what, 22?
Yeah, but you know, like.
It's past him by.
He should think about retiring at this point. Like, he's over the hill now.
Yeah, 24. He's 24 next month. Yeah.
Oh, well, come on. If at 24 you're not in GP, then...
honestly, which is mental.
Yeah.
But it's true. Like, that opportunity has now passed him by. He should have been GP 2 years ago, really.
Yep.
I don't see him ever getting into GP
I don't think he will. It'll be like Marcel Schrotter and Tom Luthi and things like that, where they will just be a Moto2 kind of.
But I don't think we'll see as much of that anymore because there's so much talent being brought into Moto3 these days.
Yeah.
That I don't think anyone's going to get the opportunity to be like Marcel Schrotter or Tom Luthi. Like, you're not going to get that much time.
That's why Manzi and Bellego were shipped off to Supersport, and now in Lorenzo Della Porta is next Moto3 champion, now racing for Evan Bros in Supersport. Like, it doesn't. There's no time anymore.
Like Super
And,
Sport
yeah,
and World Superbikes is going to be stacked in 10 years.
It already is.
Like it's
Yeah.
it's mad.
5 years.
It's
yeah,
insane. And yet there's still going to be more coming in the next few years, like we say. Like, yeah, and I think Jake Dixon may end up like Aaron Canet again as the Moto2 kind of veteran, because I can't see him in GP next year at all now. Now
No,
that
not
Yamaha
after
has been
today.
taken up, I don't see that happening.
I didn't see it that much anyway.
No, I didn't
like
either.
I don't know if it was just the British media running
Probably.
the rumours a bit, like opening it up really
Get a
wide.
bit
But
excited.
to be fair, Pedro Costa is the only one that you can 100% see going up.
Because
Otherwise,
Arbolino might stay down. Like,
yeah, Arbolino's already looking like he might have to stay where he is. So if that's the case, Jake Dixon's not moving up. So
Yeah. Where are we at with Yamaha getting a satellite bike next year?
Oh,
Is
it's
that-
very unlikely.
Yeah.
Very
'Cause
unlikely.
That
to
would
be
help,
honest.
but then, like Gonzalez would be probably first on that, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Manu would be really good, to be honest.
Yeah, he would.
Manu's doing
put
really
him
well
in
at the moment.
Fermin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
him and Firmino would be all right.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, Manu Gonzalez. I can't remember what he did, but he was doing the fastest lap of the races at one point.
He was.
Finished
yeah.
fifth.
Did he? Again, that's his best ever result, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I think
fifth
he got a
place.
fourth.
Yeah, I think he did break that with a fourth. Let's have a look.
But
What is
he
his name? I can't find him in the standings.
I think he got
There
a
he
fourth
is.
last year, late in the season.
Let's have a look. No, fifth.
Hmm.
The fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times now. Ouch. Yeah. So match his best ever result again. Solid rider. But
Great rider.
yeah,
Who was fourth?
in the race today it was
Joe
Joe
Roberts?
Roberts.
Yeah.
He came from nowhere.
He had a really good race.
He
Those sorts
did.
of conditions sort of coming into it. I was like, Joe Roberts should do okay today. And
Yeah.
then I didn't actually realise he finished fourth. I thought he was about fifth or sixth. So
Well, that's the first time Joe Roberts has finished higher than 12th this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
I hope it's a
Yikes.
turning point because he's good. He's good, Joe.
I'd hope so.
yeah, I like Joe Roberts. I really want him to stay in the class.
Yeah,
So-
me too. I think, well, like I said last week, there were rumours that Moreira's got the seat after a private test at Misano between Mazzia, Altola, and Moreira. So he could be out for Moreira, depending on where Moreira goes. Actually, did you see Moreira's helmet design this weekend?
Yeah, Senna tribute.
Yeah, the Earth and Senna
Yeah.
tribute.
Oh, yes.
It was
Real
cool.
nice. Yeah,
It was
ace.
really good.
But yeah, and back into Moto2 quickly. Pedro Costa as well is now the championship leader.
By a point?
By 2 points.
Oh, by two.
And he was injured as well. He's an injured foot as well from a training accident.
What's he done?
I don't actually
Hasn't
know.
said. No.
No. Kept it
Training.
quiet, very quiet. But yeah, training
Yeah.
incident
Yeah,
apparently.
he took his boot off literally
Yeah, he
as soon
did.
as he crossed the line and started
Because
to
I
slow
thought
down.
he chucked it into the crowd, but no, he had it
Yeah.
on the tank. Yeah, very interesting one. Well, it's a silly season. There is one more Moto2 rumour, which is about that Jaume Masia has signed a pre-contract with SAG. But he did that
Okay.
last year as well. And SAG's probably the worst team to go to because they're slap bang at the bottom of the Team Constructors Championship at the moment.
Yeah.
They're only
You
saving
shouldn't-
grace being that podium from Bo Benschneider.
Meh. I mean, you shouldn't move up a class just for the sake of it, I think. Unless it's GP, maybe. But I don't think you should move
Yeah.
up to Moto2
I think
just
he's
because
just
a ride's there.
yeah. I think he's worried that he's not gonna get a Moto2 ride, so he's seeing this as maybe his only opportunity.
It is funny though, say veteran Moto3 riders struggle to get up there, but then kids like Zonta can move from like junior GP Moto3 straight into Moto2 World Championship.
But then I've thought this year the Moto2 rookies this year have struggled a lot, and you
They-
wonder if the likes of Masia or maybe Dennis Onchu, etc., who haven't won the Moto3 championship, I wonder if they moved up, how they would do.
Yeah,
Because I'm genuinely intrigued, because they have like the Moto2 rookies I haven't seen much apart from Sergio Garcia.
yeah, it was 14th in the championship, crashed out today. You
But was seventh.
Yeah, and the championship leader, Izan Guevara, scored another, 21st today. Like, what the hell's going on?
Like we were talking about him like he was God last year.
Yeah. and he's absolutely nowhere to be seen. Obviously, Foggia didn't even finish today. The other rookies being Darryn Binder. Where's he on the standings? 19th. 1 point scored today. Borja Gomez hasn't scored a point. Crashed out today. Roy Skinner, 0 points. Esquig, 0 points.
It's a tough class to crack, Moto2.
Yeah, it's horrendous. Esquig, this is the first time he's actually finished a race with us today this year. He's missed most of them for injury.
Yeah.
I think it's making the races, for the most part, kind of boring as well. Because it seems like when it clicks for a handful of riders, they are just so much faster than everyone else. Yeah. And you don't get like you don't get much exciting racing. Like in MotoGP and Moto3, there's like 10 riders who could be scrapping it out for the podium,
if not more. Like Moto3 scored the second closest ever top 15 today.
Really?
The top 17 riders split by 1.9 seconds.
Yeah.
You could have been
17th.
Wild.
I think the group stretched back as far as 19th, but there was a little bit of a gap towards the back of that group. But you could have been anywhere in that group if you tried hard enough. You were getting up there.
Yeah, it's just not the case in Moto2. You've maybe got 5 riders who you think could be on the podium, but it's barely a scrap when it is as well. There's always someone who's a second or two clear at the front.
Yeah, like Furman today disappearing.
Yeah. And then another second.
Yeah,
between
you
second
get a
and
little
third,
bit of a scrap at the start, and then someone finds the rhythm, and then you know your final 3 by, halfway through the race.
Yeah.
Unless someone crashes, but then it's just the next person, say, in 4th to pick up the pieces who is riding around on their own too.
Yeah, you don't want races being won by crashes,
No, you don't.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, moving to Moto3, as we said, second closest ever finished. There's the second closest ever top 15. So top 15 was split hilariously by both the Aspar riders, with Colombian David Alonso coming from 28th on the grid, dead last, to finish first, racing as high as second on the third lap of the race, which is insane that he got from 28th to second in like 2 and a bit laps.
It's like video game stuff.
Was his teammate was Yamanaka was 15th, 1.5 seconds behind. 15 riders, technically split by 10th each, really.
Wow.
Is nuts.
We shouldn't say anything though, because this is what happens, and we'll big him up, and then he'll go to Moto 2, and then nothing will happen.
Alonso's a weird one because he won the Red Bull Rookies Championship not last year but the year previous, 2021. Then did this like the Junior GPs last year and was on the podiums and stuff like that and winning races. But every time he did a wild card or a replacement ride in the World Championship, he was battling for like 20th. You could barely stick to it. And then all of a sudden, he's coming now as a full-time rider, and he's absolutely killing it.
He's not the rookie I thought that was going to be making waves. Like, it was all pointed towards Rueda, who hasn't been terrible, has been having an average rookie season. Yeah. But Alonso's just blown everyone else out of the water.
Yeah, like, where is he in the championship now? Let's have a look. If I can work out how to get this up on the new stupid... there we go. He's 6th overall.
That's mad.
For a rookie that isn't Pedro Acosta.
That's impressive.
He's 6th overall. Rueda's 8th overall. There's a 30-point gap between the pair of them.
Oh, okay. Well, then I take it back for Rueda. It's not an average. Like, he's also doing very well.
Yeah, he is doing well. But the fact that David Alonso is 9 points behind Onshu, who's in the IO squad. And you got Ivan Otola, who's in the MTA squad. This is only their second, maybe third full year back in the championship.
They're a good team,
there. They are really good. I like what they're doing, especially with like the Angelus thing as well.
Exactly.
But yeah, then Masia actually has lost second in the championship after his crash today, with Sasaki being promoted third, just by 2 points. And then Sasaki.
I think it's because Holgado finished third.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Masia doing Masia things, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, he crashed from the lead.
Disappointing. Yep.
Yeah, I'm quite sad. Who I am really sad for though is Scott Ogden.
Oh, don't even speak to me about it.
I was like, yeah,
Pain.
Scott Ogden, and then literally
Do you know-
like a
no.
minute later he stalled it.
I was making breakfast and I walk out and I'm like, oh yeah, look at Scott sitting P2. I walk back in for the warm-up lap and I'm like, where's Scott Ogden? Completely missed what had happened. See him
Yeah.
lining up at the back of the grid. I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah,
So typical. Every British
Oh,
rider
yeah.
just did not have
Yeah, it
a good
sucked.
weekend. Like literally, Sam Lowe's had the best weekend and where'd he finish? 8th?
Something like that, yeah.
like every
So-
time a British rider comes to the British Grand Prix, there's an issue. Like Sam Lowe's nearly winning it and got taken out by Zarco years ago.
Yeah.
You know, it's just typical, isn't it?
It's a curse. Like a genuine curse.
Yeah.
Sam
oh yeah.
Lowe's is lucky to have finished the race, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way it was going.
But I don't know. It was a good race, of course. Shame for Masia because he had a real chance of actually making some ground up after Holgado scored 0 in Assen, and he closed from like 41 points it was, and he closed it down
to 16.
to 16, and he could have closed it down even more, but now he's 32 back. So he'd been handed a lifeline, and he's just absolutely chucked it up the road.
Well, Holgado did exactly what Holgado needed to do after that horror weekend in Assen. He
Yeah.
stayed cool, calm and collected. Top 5 probably would have done enough, but 3rd place, he'll take it, another podium.
Yeah, that's it. Like, he's dropped 4 points to Sasaki, but he's not going to
4
cry
points,
over that.
yeah,
There's still 22
yeah.
points between them. It's not like the end of the world.
He's nearly
for
got a
him.
whole race
Yeah, exactly.
as a
And-
bumper, which was better than what you came into the weekend with.
Yeah,
To second place
exactly.
man. So you have to take that as a win.
Yeah, exactly.
It
Just
was a
really solid
champion's
victory.
ride.
It
Oh,
was.
yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah, but yeah, some really good races across the category today. What was his name? Colin Vire coming from
Oh,
he
yeah.
was way back, like
Damn.
outside the top 20 with Scott Ogden, and climbed his way up. He's quite good at that, I've noticed
Yeah.
recently. He's been pretty good for making up some positions in the last few races, last few laps of the races. I've been talking for too long. My brain's starting to hurt, but yeah, he's pretty good at kind of making a lot of places up, and it's really impressive, to be honest.
Yeah.
he did
Romano
well.
Finati
Yeah,
was really
he's
good
10th.
until I don't know what the hell happened to him.
Just
I don't
faded,
know, he kind of
didn't
lost it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he looked really promising. I was like, he's going to
Yeah.
win this race.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then-
Then you saw Onshu as well, could have had a chance, but then was punted out in the last few corners as well.
Ugh.
Bit typical Dennis Onshu as well. I don't know. He looked a
Yeah,
bit ropey today. So
yeah,
I'm
he
kind of
did.
glad
Some
he
of the
wasn't.
moves they were making, I was like,
Yeah.
how the hell are they not crashing? This is insane. Yeah, it
That was a great
wild.
race.
Oh, yeah.
It was the best race of the day.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Then
MotoGP was a close
MotoGP,
second.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Moto 2.
But
Yeah.
MotoGP, if it weren't for the choppy weather, was gonna be boring as hell.
Boring. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so bored halfway through, and then those the white flag with the red cross came out, and I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah,
And
I was
sure
sitting on my
enough-
phone and then
Yeah.
the rain flag came out and I was like, oh, I'm just going to put my phone down and
Why
actually
didn't I
start
just say
paying
rain
attention
flag?
again.
Yeah.
So,
Like
It
the
got
sprint
exciting.
race, it was a bit boring.
I didn't
Yeah.
watch the sprint race and
it was
everyone
okay,
I
but-
asked, I was like, should I watch it? And everyone was like,
Nah.
Nah.
Yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
It was good to see Alex win, but
yeah, that's
Nah.
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
That is good.
Right, should we move on to predictions and wrap this thing up?
Ooh. Come on
If I
then.
have to.
When's Austria? Not next weekend.
Not next
No.
weekend after. So,
Okay.
Brad Binder to win.
Yes.
In Austria, just saying.
potentially, yeah.
Write that down
Maybe,
now.
maybe not.
I'm just putting that
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
So, the tallies heading into this weekend is Cameron leading with 139, myself 13 points back with 126, and Lauren 50 points back with 76.
Do you know, I didn't realise I was only 50 points behind.
Yeah, it's not that bad to be fair.
I don't think you were only 13 behind me. I think you've been sort of sneaking some points in.
I have-
just-
I
Every-
don't trust Declan with
Honestly,
any,
I
like,
can
no
send you the
part of me
link to the
trusts him.
document that you
That's
can do the maths
interesting because
yourself. There you
you've
go.
never shared it with us before.
That's
so
because it was always on an Excel thing, and then my Excel Microsoft thing ran
Oh.
out, so I had to transfer
Oh.
it to Google Docs.
Did you
Such an
accidentally
inconvenience,
update your
isn't it?
cracked version?
yeah, but
every week
Yeah.
you're like, oh, sorry, I've done the maths wrong on this.
yeah. To be fair, but I've been gaining on you a little bit. Like it's been like 12 points back, and then I was like 20 points back, and it's just slightly every time gained a little bit. But anyway, for Moto 3, it was Marcia on pole. And myself and Cameron went for Onshu, Lauren Sasaki, so 0 points there.
Annoying.
So in the Moto 3 podium, it was Alonso, Sasaki, then Holgado. I went for Holgado, Sasaki, Moreira. So I get 6 points. 5 points for Sasaki being in the correct position on the podium. 1 point for Holgado on the podium in the incorrect place. Cameron went for Mazia, Onshu, Holgado. Cameron gets 5 points for Holgado being in the right place.
So close.
And then Lauren went for Holgado, Sasaki, Onshu. Lauren also gets 6 points. So after Moto 3, the tally is 144 for Cameron. 12 points back is myself in 132. And then Lauren back 50 again with 82.
That's a bit more of a healthy score from myself. I'm not gonna
All
lie.
right, nearing that 100. It was a dire weekend for everybody, by the way.
Yeah.
So, Moto 2 pole was Pedro Acosta. Cameron went for Pedro Acosta. Myself and Lauren went for Dixon. 0 points there, but a point for
God
Cameron.
damn it. I don't know why I thought I'd went for...
No. In the race, it was Aldigo the one, then Canet, then Acosta. I went for Acosta, Arbolino, Dixon. I get 1 point for Acosta being on there. Cameron went for Arbolino, Dixon, and Salat. She gets 0. And Lauren went Dixon, Acosta, Arbolino, so you get a point as well. So we've all got 1 point. So it's 145 for Cameron, 133 for me, and Lauren with 83 in third. Then in MotoGP, it was Bagnaia. No, it wasn't. It was Bezzecchi on pole. I haven't actually filled this out, so this is annoying. Bezzecchi on pole.
Convenient.
Yeah, Bezzecchi on pole. I went for Bagnaia, Cameron Miller, Lauren Martin. Then in the sprint race, it was Aleix Marquez who won. Me and Cameron went Bagnaia and Lauren Binder. In the main race, it was quite annoyingly actually, Aleix Espargaro, then Bagnaia, then Binder. I had Bagnaia to win, then Martin, then Bezzecchi. So that last lap overtake by Bagnaia cost me 9 points.
Good. No, I stand by me saying good
that.
from earlier. That's absolutely fine.
Cameron nearly had a blinder of a prediction with Vinales in P1.
I got the wrong Aprilia.
You did.
Yeah.
But you also had Binder and Bagnaia on the podium in the incorrect position, so you get 2 points.
In the correct positions. In the correct positions.
Yeah, if Race Direction did their job.
Yeah, exactly. If the stewards were in any way competent, I would be sailing away with 10 points right now. But pain. Anyway.
And Lauren went Martin, Binder, Bastianini, so she gets a point for that. So Vitaly's leaving Silverstone, heading to Austria. Cameron in the lead with 147. Myself 13 points back, so I lose a point. Oh my god. Lose a point. 3 words there that all began with a P, and I got the wrong one. 13 points back with 134 is myself, and then 50 back still is Lauren with 84.
That's a win. I didn't lose any points.
No, you did pretty good.
Why
not
lose Aleix? Do you know what I mean?
But Cameron's gained 1 point on everybody technically. So he's
okay, but I'm still 50 back to you, so that's a win.
Yeah, if you say so. But yeah, it's good.
All you need is one good weekend where you get 100 points.
Oh yeah, if you have one good weekend, you can get 30 whole points.
Get it? I managed to make up so many points last year when I came in like mid-season, and then I started this season all big balls, and now
you're nowhere to be seen.
Like, it's embarrassing. I don't like the predictions every week. I hate it.
Well, we have a new predictions thing. I'll still run this, of course, but there will be a predictions that you lot at home can get involved with soon.
Ooh.
When it's announced.
How exciting.
When there's no technical difficulties with the platform, as Cameron found out.
Oh, good. I never bothered looking at it.
Then we can announce it and kind of get you guys in the league as well, and we'll be doing our own predictions from the podcast. So we're putting those in that league, and you can battle against us for prizes, including MotoGP merchandise. And if you're the best in the world, there's some flipping good prizes on offer.
Yeah. Pretty juicy stuff.
Pretty, you're walking away with like 50 grand plus worth of prizes, really, if you win the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not from our league, but from everybody's league.
No. From the world.
No, and it'll not be us winning either, because
No.
we are
We are terrible. Yeah, wow. Jeez, Cameron.
Sorry. I'm just feeling good because I gained a point.
Nice, well done.
Imagine if you'd got Vinales right.
Oh my god.
And
It'd be
it
unsufferable.
looked like it might. I know. It would have been. We'd be chatting about this for ages, or I would. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'd just be doing my own monologue. But it wasn't. It wasn't out of the realms of possibility. Is all I'm saying.
No.
I got the right
Close.
bike.
Yeah, you did. Well done.
You've done that before. I feel
It wasn't a Ducati.
I've done, yeah. I've pegged Miller to win a few times this year, but it's been Brad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. But yeah, I think that's all we've got time for.
I think so.
Yeah,
Good.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, me too. I'm starving.
It's dinner time. We're recording really early today.
Yeah, it's
Go on.
great. It's nice.
The race was literally finished like
It's-
an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah,
and we're like,
a few
let's
hours ago.
record.
It's still light outside.
I know.
Amazing.
Mental. Yeah. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening to this podcast. We're back next week, as always, with our Austrian preview and hopefully some more silly season news or rumours. I'll be speaking to everyone I can to try and get you some good news, and we shall see.
Bye.
Goodbye,
Bye.
everyone. Bye. I can't even work out to end this weekend. There you go. Bye.